In our modern world, anxiety has become an unmistakable presence, a constant undercurrent shaping our experiences. It's a familiar companion that, while often misunderstood, influences our thoughts and emotions in profound ways. Despite various attempts to handle it, whether through therapy, medication, or self-help strategies, anxiety continues to persist, often intensifying over time. The question we must ask ourselves is not simply how to eliminate anxiety, how to make it go away, how to live without it. These are the wrong questions. Questions that arise from a fundamental misunderstanding of what anxiety actually is. The real question, the question that goes to the heart of the matter, is this: what is anxiety trying to tell us? What is this experience revealing about the nature of the self, about the structure of consciousness, about the way we have learned to relate to our own existence? Anxiety is not, as we so often assume, simply an illness to be cured, a disorder to be corrected, a symptom to be eliminated. Anxiety is a signal. It is a message from the deepest layers of our being, attempting to communicate something of vital importance. And the message is this: the way you are trying to live is fundamentally at odds with the nature of reality itself. The way you are attempting to secure yourself, to protect yourself, to guarantee your future, to control your life, this entire project is based on an illusion. And anxiety is the feeling that arises when this illusion is threatened, when reality presses against the walls of the fictional fortress you have constructed around yourself. At the core of anxiety is the sense of being a separate self, an isolated entity, fundamentally disconnected from the world around it. This separate self experiences itself as vulnerable, as threatened, as perpetually at risk. It feels that it must defend itself against a potentially hostile universe. It must secure itself against an uncertain future. It must control circumstances to ensure its own survival and well-being. And so this separate self engages in a constant project of self-protection and self-advancement. It tries to think ahead, to anticipate dangers, to plan for contingencies, to secure guarantees. It attempts to achieve a state of absolute safety, absolute security, and absolute certainty. Anxiety is what happens when this project fails, when the impossibility of achieving such absolute security becomes apparent, when the future refuses to be controlled, when life demonstrates its fundamental unpredictability and uncontrollability. But here is what we fail to understand: the separate self that feels anxious, the isolated entity that feels vulnerable and insecure. This is itself an illusion. It is a fiction, a mental construct, a way of experiencing ourselves that we have learned, but which does not correspond to the actual nature of what we are. We are not, in fact, separate from the world. We are not isolated entities moving through a foreign environment. We are expressions of the world, manifestations of the universe, waves in the ocean of existence. When you truly understand this, when you see through the illusion of the separate self, anxiety cannot arise in the same way, because anxiety depends on the belief in separation, on the sense of being a vulnerable, isolated entity that must defend itself against an external world. Remove that belief, see through that illusion, and the ground from which anxiety grows is eliminated. But let me be clear. I am not suggesting that you can think your way out of anxiety, that you can simply decide to believe differently and thereby eliminate the feeling. The illusion of the separate self is not just an intellectual belief. It is a way of experiencing a structure of consciousness that has been built up over years of conditioning. It is woven into the very fabric of how you perceive yourself and the world. This is why anxiety persists even when we know intellectually that our worries are often unfounded, that most of what we fear never comes to pass, that we have survived everything that has happened to us so far. The knowledge doesn't touch the anxiety because the anxiety is not arising from the thinking mind. It is arising from a much deeper level, from the basic sense of being a separate, vulnerable self. When you truly understand this, when you see through the illusion of the separate self, anxiety cannot arise in the same way because anxiety depends on the belief in separation, on the sense of being a vulnerable, isolated entity that must defend itself against an external world. Remove that belief, see through that illusion, and the ground from which anxiety grows is eliminated. So what is to be done? How does one address anxiety at this fundamental level rather than simply trying to manage its symptoms? The answer lies in a kind of radical acceptance, a willingness to confront what anxiety is actually showing us, rather than constantly trying to escape from the feeling. When anxiety arises, our habitual response is to resist it, to try to make it go away, to distract ourselves from it, to think our way out of it, to reassure ourselves that everything will be okay. But all of these responses are forms of running away. We are treating anxiety as an enemy, as something wrong, as a problem to be solved. And in doing so, we actually reinforce the very structure that creates anxiety in the first place, the sense of a separate self that must protect itself against threatening experiences. What if instead we turn toward the anxiety? What if we allowed ourselves to feel it fully, without resistance, without trying to make it different, without needing it to go away? What if we investigated it, explored it, became curious about its actual texture and quality, rather than immediately believing the stories it tells us about danger and catastrophe? When you do this, when you actually allow yourself to be with anxiety rather than running from it, something remarkable happens. The anxiety itself begins to reveal its own nature. You begin to see that anxiety is not actually about the future, not really about the specific things you are worried about. Anxiety is about the present moment, about right now, about the resistance to what is actually happening in this moment. Think about it carefully. When you are anxious, what is actually happening? You are here now, in this moment. And in this actual moment, right now, there is no catastrophe. There is just this breathing, sensing, being aware. The catastrophe is in imagination, in thought, in the story about what might happen. But the anxiety itself, the actual feeling in the body, is happening now. It is a present moment experience. And what is that present moment experience actually made of? If you observe it closely without the overlay of thought, without the story about what it means, what do you find? You find sensations in the body, tightness in the chest perhaps, or a fluttering in the stomach, or tension in the shoulders. You find thoughts racing through the mind, imagining scenarios, rehearsing worries. You find an overall sense of contraction, of tightness, of bracing against something. But notice, all of these are present moment experiences. They are happening now, and if you can simply be with them, if you can allow them to be exactly as they are, without needing them to change, without adding resistance to them, something shifts. The anxiety is still there, but your relationship to it has changed. You are no longer caught in it, no longer identified with it, no longer believing that you are the anxiety. This is a crucial distinction. You are not your anxiety. Anxiety is something that is happening, an experience that is arising, but it is not what you are. What you are is the awareness in which the anxiety appears, the consciousness that knows the anxiety is present. And this awareness, this consciousness, It is not anxious. It simply witnesses the anxiety, holds it, allows it to be there without being disturbed by it. When you discover this, when you recognize yourself as the awareness, rather than as the anxious thoughts and sensations, anxiety loses its power over you. It may still arise. It is a conditioned pattern, deeply ingrained, but it no longer controls you, no longer defines your experience, no longer seems like an emergency that must be immediately addressed.